why can't we use the same technology that is being used to power self-driving vehicles to actually solve one of the most consequential problems of today? Cooking is very much a vision problem. Not having had a job before was also actually an advantage, and it will become a gateway device just like the iPhone. I'm super obsessed with cooking to notice anything else.
Welcome to the Hardware Podcast. It's a pleasure to have you here. How are you doing today?
Great, thanks for having me.
Perfect. Raghav, today I'm representing the thoughts of 3 million young people that are ambitious, hungry to build, and hoping and excited for the new technologies that are coming in the hardware side of the world. So, my first question to you, Raghav, is what got you to start Posha, which is a cooking robot that's helping us make time for the most important things in the world, our family, our hobbies, and the things we love doing most?
It was us trying to scratch our own itch. At that point of time, I had just graduated from college, and I realized that cooking took about the same time as driving. Americans spend about 90 billion hours cooking, which is the same amount of time as driving. And while we had Waymo, Zoox, Cruise at the time, and Tesla coming out with self-driving cars and self-driving technology, cooking had nothing. We said, if cooking takes the same amount of time as driving, why can't we use the same technology that is being used to power self-driving vehicles to actually solve one of the most consequential problems of today? And that's how Posha came about. We are now in about 800 homes that are using Posha roughly 3.5 times a week, which is more than the oven. It has become the default way that consumers cook every single day. We were in only 50 homes of last year, 800 homes right now. We'll be in about 10,000 homes by the end of next year, and we're just trying to get into as many homes as possible, so people can eat freshly cooked meals without having to spend tons of time in the kitchen.
For people in the age groups of 16 to 25, this is a common thing that we fear, that we don't know how to cook and we aren't making enough times in our life to enjoy the process of cooking with our families. So, Raghav, how many times have you cooked with your family around a Posha?
Me and my wife use it roughly 3 times a week, and it's just the two of us. So cooking is a bit easier. It's even easier for people who live alone. But our customers are typically people who have kids, and they struggle to find time to be their best versions at work, at the same time provide fresh meals to their families. So they find most value out of Posha. As I said, I cook with my family pretty often. I eat home cooked meals every single day, um, and yeah, before Posha, I think I used to cook habitually over the weekends, and I actually enjoyed it quite a bit. But Monday to Friday was extremely hard finding time to cook on between those days, and so Posha solves cooking for us Monday through Friday when we don't have the time to cook. But Saturdays and Sundays when we do, we actually enjoy our time in the kitchen pretty regularly, actually.
Perfect, perfect. Okay, Raghav, so what got you started specifically in this field of hardware? What were the first few things that you experimented on as a student that you were curious about, that you tried to invent, or you built by yourself?
I think while growing up, hardware was the way to tinker because we did not know how to write software like as kids. So the way I tinkered would be, get Lego blocks, try to build like castles of Lego. In sixth grade, I got introduced to into the world of electronics. My school had an electronics lab, so we would get breadboards. We would get various resistors. We learned how to read the readings on a resistor. We would connect different wires together to make a bulb glow, and we would make these systems that detected when water in a water tank was running low, and it was pretty exciting to build all those systems. Uh, in college, Rohin and I, my co-founder and I, saw that 20% of India did not have access to electricity, and having been born and raised in India, we wanted to solve that problem. And we thought wind energy could be the way to solve that, to solve India's energy problem. So we started building micro wind turbines that could electrify rural India. Um, we decided not to pursue that further after having designed the turbine and having won tons of competitions against PhDs from the best institutes on the planet. We decided to shelve that project because we realized that that it required not just technical savvy to solve that problem for rural India, but it also required financial savvy, which we did not have at the time. We realized that people who needed our solution most were the same people who did not have access to the means to get this. And so, what needed to be done were innovative financing structures between non-governmental organizations, with government itself, with the gram panchayats of the villages that we were trying to serve, to find a way to make these people make these people afford our solutions. And we wanted to be in the technology business. We did not want to be in the fintech business. We also realized that it would be very hard for us to compete with solar. There were material advances in the way solar could be used to generate power. Uh, and so we decided to shelve that. And we started asking ourselves, hey, what is the next problem that we want to solve? And this next problem had to sit at the intersection of three different things. It had to be a deep tech problem, something which had deep technological moats. It could not be another app, it could not be another website, it could not be another service, because those were just too easy to copy and too easy to build. It wasn't challenging enough for us. Um, Secondly, it had to be a problem that could be solved from India for the world. Um, and and thirdly, it needed to be something that scratched our own itch. We realized that in the wind energy, problem statement, it was something that we hadn't experienced ourselves, and so it took us a very long time to realize that the problem was not a technology problem, but it was a financing problem. And if we were more close to the problem at hand, it would be easier for us to solve that problem much quicker. Um, and Posha seemed to lie at the intersection of all those three things. And so we decided to start Posha.
Perfect.
Yeah. At that point of time, actually, one more thing that was happening is we had seen the likes of, and I told you we were at the intersection of deep tech and India for the world. And we saw that at that time there were a lot of software services companies that were exporting from India to the world. We had Wipros and Infosys and TCS and the likes exporting software services. We also had software products come along. We had Freshdesk, ChargeBee, and other various CRM tools, uh, Postman, that were building software products from India for the world. But while Japan had Sony, UK had Dyson, US had Apple, India was still known for inferior product and cheap labor. And we thought that India could be known for a whole lot more than just that. And building high quality consumer products could be one way to put our engineering prowess back on the map. So that was also one of our motivations to pick this path.
I think you're right. Posha is one of those companies that India is proud of, and we see that through all of the people that have adopted this around the world. Now, you guys are at 800 homes. What are your goals for Posha, and how does this compare to when you guys started and were in the early stages of developing the company?
When we started, our goal was just to build a cooking robot that could cook meals for us. But as we have progressed on that mission, we've realized that there's so much more that we can do now that we have a technological advantage on cooking. I mentioned sometime back that Americans spend about 90 billion hours driving, and Waymo and Tesla are solving the driving problem. They're putting a private driver on every road in the U.S. We feel the opportunity that we have in front of us is to put a private chef in every kitchen, and a private chef will not necessarily have a humanoid form factor, just like a private driver on every road does not have a humanoid form factor. It's a car with enough sensors that detect the state of your roads, detect pedestrians, detect red lights, traffic signals, weather conditions, so on and so forth, and take you from point A to point B. Likewise, I think cooking would not require a humanoid form factor, but a new kind of organism in the kitchen that blends into the built environment that cooks for you. It would have the same dexterity as a human being and the same intelligence as a human being. We would need tons of data to put the human equivalent of a robot chef in every home. And what we've built right now is our wedge into building that future. For self-driving, what happened, again, a lot of data was also required in self-driving. But what happened was that to get that data, Waymo and Cruise put all these vehicles on the road, burnt billions of VC dollars just to make sure that they were able to map every road and every scenario and every stop signal and so on and so forth, without earning any revenue. And now is when they've started to earn revenue. We feel for getting a private chef in every home, you don't necessarily need to do that.
Yeah.
What we've done is built a product that is already super useful to consumers, that people are already willing to pay, that has already become the default way for them to cook every single day, and that is already giving us tons of data for the next iteration of Posha. And we'll use all the learnings we're getting from our consumers by putting this new, V1 of our private chef in every kitchen. We'll use those learnings along with the data that we collect here to make a version of the robot chef that's even more dexterous, even more intelligent, even more capable than what we have today. And our vision for the next 10 years is just to make sure that every home has a private robot chef. And all of us can eat healthy, and all of us reduce our dependency on DoorDash and eating out and frozen meals, and just eat fresh meals every day.
Perfect. On that note, Raghav, how is our food doing today?
Oh, let me just check what's happening. I think one thing I did not mention earlier was the fact that Posha uses a camera to cook. I mentioned self-driving cars use LiDAR sensors and other cameras to see the state of what's going on the roads. Posha actually uses, a camera to cook also. So you can see.
Wow.
So you can see there's about 8 minutes remaining. We can see that how our food looks like right now while we're sitting here and talking about it. We know what all steps are remaining approximately. And what Posha is doing right now is it's looking at change in color, change in texture, change in consistency of the food, because cooking is very much a vision problem.
Yes.
Just like human beings use their eyes to detect when their onions are brown, Posha does the same. If your onions are chopped, it would take a different amount of time to brown. If they're diced, it would be different. It really depends on your cut style, your prep style, whether it's a red onion or a yellow onion or a white onion, what the ambient conditions are like, the quantity that was thrown in. You might have noticed that we asked you to put, 1 cup of milk.
Yeah.
Now, is this whole milk, or is this, 2% milk, or is this fat-free milk? All of that will determine how long the milk has to be heated. You also, chopped some mushrooms and put them in, and we gave you a rough quantity of how much mushrooms to put in. But if those mushrooms were chopped slightly thicker, it would take longer for them to cook.
Yes.
If you put in a little bit more, again, it would take longer to cook. And Posha is taking all those variables into account as it's cooking the perfect pasta dish that you'll taste very shortly.
I'm looking forward to it. My mouth is already watering thinking of it. But Raghav, on another note, when it comes to the problems that you guys had on the first stages of Nimble, which is now Posha, and building the primary team, helping understand what the goal is, how did you tackle that in the first few stages of your startup?
I think it was very important to get out of the room and talk to our customers. In very early stages, we realized that as engineers, we often don't talk to our customers. We like building, and we feel that the version of the problem that we know of is the best version of the problem, and that's the real problem. Um, we made a very conscious effort to make sure that we talked to our potential customers before we built anything at all. Um, we would, sitting out of Bangalore, we built a website, tried to paint a picture of the future that we were trying to create, ran some ads, posted our website on various social media channels before building anything at all, to solicit some interest from potential customers. We would video interview them and try to understand what cooking meant to them, what problems they face in the kitchen, what kind of solution they would pay for if the problem they had was solved without any bias to the solution we were building. Then the first product that we built was really made of 3D printed parts, and it was far from perfect. It was not reliable. It was not cost effective. It was so hard to clean, um, and it was not production grade. But as soon as we made that first version, we made sure that we put it in the houses of at least 20 people. And it was not reliable, so it would barely last like 14 days. So, but we made sure that 20 different people used this thing for 14 days and told us what was wrong with it. And we got tons of feedback. There was no Zendesk, no Freshdesk available. It was available, but we made sure no service support was being provided through those channels. We made sure we were on text basis or WhatsApp basis with all of these people. We made sure we were in their houses, actually looking at how they were using this thing, and got real world feedback before, trying to perfect this broken prototype that we had. And we did that again with our alpha version, we did that again with our beta version, and we did that again with the production version that we have right now. And just making sure we were building with our customers has ensured that we have probably one of the best V1s that our customers have ever seen. Our customers tell us that they've used so many version 1 products in their life, and Posha is the first version 1 product they've ever used that almost feels like a version 5 product. They're like, we expected this to be like the Roadster, like Tesla Roadster, which still had tons
Yeah.
of bugs, but you've given us like Model S on day one.
Yes.
And that can only happen when you're obsessed with your customer problems and not necessarily with the technical problems you have in front of you.
Absolutely. I have one thing to add here, Raghav. While doing the secondary research for this podcast, I happened to go out in my community and ask if people around me were using Poshas. And it so happened that two of my aunt's neighbors do use Posha on a weekly basis when they invite people home, when they are looking to get new recipes out or try new kinds of food without going to restaurants. And they completely vouched for Posha and had lovely things to say. More than anything, they mentioned that you had come to their community
Right.
and also modeled the product in front of them and introduced them to it about 3 years ago, and they have been using it since, and they have not had any complaints so far. So that says a lot about Posha, and it says a lot about your team that intentionally chooses to serve the people.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, having said this, in the process of iteration, what would you say you have seen as an advantage that you were lucky to have in the process? Was it infrastructure? Was it testing? Was it the people? What were the unfair advantages you think your team had the luck to have around?
I think we were fortunate to have maybe. So I think the most important thing for any founder to have is obsession with the problem, and that is an internal thing that you need to have, and you need to make sure that your founders have that obsession. You yourself have the obsession. No big company can copy that obsession that you single-handedly have. And I think that is the biggest unfair advantage that small startups can have. For us, the other advantage that externally we had was the availability of 3D printers, an ecosystem where all of a sudden it was inexpensive to manufacture PCBs even in low volumes. Prior to our generation of products, it was very expensive to manufacture PCBs. The Shenzhen ecosystem had just opened up, so the luxury of just knowing that this place called Shenzhen exists on the planet and that we can fly there um, and iterate at a speed that is 20x faster than anywhere else on the planet was also an advantage we had at the time. Not having had a job before was also actually an advantage, because when you haven't seen money in your life, you don't know what risk you're taking. So the last 10 years, I don't even know what the world looks like on the other side. Having not seen like what a high salary looks like, for us it's like it doesn't even seem like a risk when many other people tell us that we've risked our lives for the last 10 years. So I think that is an unfair advantage that many first time founders have, not not knowing what is there to lose. um, um, Also very fortunate to have investors in the early days of our time, um, who had a long term view of the world, who wanted to build generational businesses with us and not want a quick win, who have continued to support us through multiple rounds of funding in the past. I think all of these were great advantages that we were fortunate to have.
On that note, what would you say are the three technologies in the field of robotics that you are putting your bets on from now for the next 10 years?
Generative AI, obviously. So there is a new breed of robotic foundation models now that, and I mean, nobody can define what a robotic foundation model is, but there are new breed of multimodal models now coming up that allow you to manipulate the world in manners that was not possible before. Early in the day, if you had to manipulate the physical world using, you know, robotic arms or things that were adjacent to robotic arms, because robotic arms can be of various kinds, multiple degrees of freedom. They could actually look like an arm or they could not look like an arm. But new breed of multimodal models that are able to gauge the state of the world, and are able to manipulate physical space without you having to spend like multi-million dollars in resources. I feel that very soon, just like we have intelligence available on Claude Code, like Claude Code, you need intelligence, you write a prompt and you get intelligence at your fingertips. I feel that same intelligence will be available for robots just by means of an API call. You'll be able to say things like, hey, um, find out what that room looks like, where is that room, and navigate my robot to that room just as a text command. And the robot will just be able to do that, which it cannot currently do. So I think the new breed of robotics founders will have a lot to benefit from this new wave of new wave of models that are being built.
Perfect. What are two products that you would place in your home or that you would personally be trusting enough to drive or to use on a daily basis?
Hardware products.
Mm-hmm.
I can mention products that I already use.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I'm hooked to my phone. It's something I probably cannot live without. And then I think my laptop would be the other thing that I cannot live without. Um, and what these products have built is, is a gateway to access the world that was not previously possible. I see the laptop, the phone, even the Apple TV as a gateway device.
Mm-hmm.
It gives you access to uh, capabilities that were not possible before you had these devices. So thanks to the smartphone, I'm able to access apps. Able to access this giant like app store, which allows me to make calls, connect with my friends, uh, run calculations that were not possible, play video games, so on and so forth. And that's only possible because of this gateway device. And it's the same thing for the TV. And I'm fascinated with these things because, in essence, we're also at Posha building a gateway device for your kitchen.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like the iPhone enabled access to entertainment and productivity that was not possible without it. Posha is a gateway device that's enabling access to thousands of recipes, to meal planning, to grocery shopping, to collective cooking, without uh, which would not have been possible without the gateway device. So meal planning sucks today because nobody out there, no app out there, no device out there really knows what you might want to eat the next week. Uh, no device can cook the perfect meal for you. So let me actually go a step back. Um, there is no technology out there that has access to. I'm just trying to frame my thoughts. Um, a real human private chef in the kitchen, if he or she could cook for you, you would rely on them for looking at your health reports. You would rely on them for looking at your dietary preferences. You would rely on them for meal planning. You would rely on them for shopping. Without having access to a real human private chef, you do all of it yourself.
Correct.
So our hope is that by putting a private robot chef in your kitchen, all of these things that you are currently doing yourself will be outsourced to this enabler, and it will become a gateway device, just like the iPhone and the Apple TV and the laptop became gateway devices. Yeah.
That sounds amazing. To be honest, I think that this is a world very unexplored at the moment, and the fact that Posha is leading the game is of a lot of pride to all of us who use Poshas, who see Poshas, and who love Poshas.
Yeah.
Now, in the process of building this company, do you think that you took lessons from the first company that you worked on in the realm of power systems? And how did you take that experience and bring it here? What were the commonalities? A lot of people my age find it a little fearful not to be experts in a field already. Now, when moving fields, there is a lack of expertise and there is a sort of confidence that we have to build as individuals. For someone in the age of, let's say, 20 to 25, that is moving from one field to another, what would you say as advice to them?
I feel curiosity is underrated by young people. As you age and as you start building, you realize that curiosity can be a superpower. I think at any given point of time, a person can operate from two mindsets. A person can operate from a place of fear, or a person can operate from a place of possibility. And I would just encourage encourage the viewers here to operate from a place of possibility. Any situation, you lost a job, your project failed. I think Blue Origin just announced that, not announced, but we have seen videos and footage of the Blue Origin rocket exploding before even taking off today. So one way to look at that scenario, and it happens to all of us, just like the Blue Origin rocket blew up, our little projects might also blow up. because we don't know, we're not experts at building that circuit board, just like the Blue Origin team is still trying to be experts at building a rocket.
Yeah.
And nobody's built that rocket before. So one lens of looking at it would be, hey, what happens if this blows up? Like, my career would be on the line. I would be on the road. There would be nothing for me to do. People will start judging me. The other way to look at it is, hey, what can I learn from this? And the more you can tune your mind to asking this question of, hey, what can I learn from this? I think it just becomes easier to move away from fear and be the best version of yourself. Yeah.
That, I think, is advice coming from someone who's tried and failed. And I think all of us that are trying and failing at the moment take a lot of inspiration, but also some level of consolation from that. Having said that, I'm also part of a group of people who enjoy exploring the field of robotics. So, if you as an individual were a 20-year-old today, starting out in the world that we live in right now, what are three fields that you would look out for? What are your predictions for the world in terms of robotics? Now, we see a lot of humanoid robots, but Posha stands apart because it's a non-invasive technology, meaning that the amount of recording is simply pertained to just the bowl that's being used to cook. And it's also something that a lot of people find, that can blend into a house without intruding into lives. So, in such form, have you seen some fields that you specifically have noticed in the realm and your friend groups that you would think are futuristic enough for all of us to look into and are special in this field?
I haven't. I'm super obsessed with cooking to notice anything else right now. But I would. My advice would be that always think of the problem at hand than the solutions that can be built. I think problem first is always the way to go. It is very easy to build a solution looking for a problem, or get excited by the new technology that's out there.
Yeah.
I think just think about, and there are always thousands of problems in the world. If there weren't, we wouldn't have progressed from hunters gatherers to what we are today.
Yeah.
So just think about what is the problem at hand that is really important to solve today, and I'm pretty sure you'll find that one way or the other, that problem is solvable by technology that exists today or technology that will exist 5 years from now. So I think that's my advice. Just be obsessed with the problem, talk to customers, ask them what the problem is and validate if your hypothesis is correct, and just go down building. Many people also look for unique insights outside. My take is that building a company is very much like meditation. And if you look at meditation, there are tons of books written. All of them say the same thing, more or less. And to be perfect at meditation, you don't need to read 100 books. You need to read one book, which is indicative of the knowledge of all the other 100 books. You need to read one book, and then you need to just apply the same principles day after day after day after day after day, and one day you will reach perfection. I think building a company is the very same thing. It's the same principle, which is talk to your customers, go deep, try to understand what the problem is, and try to solve that problem. Hundreds of books on entrepreneurship will tell us the same thing. But all we need to do is not look at what is unique or find a unique insight in those books, but apply this principle day after day, week after week, month after month, year after year, and you will have like a company that's actually solving a big problem for billions of people on the planet.
Perfect.
Yeah.
I think on that note, thank you for being on the Hardware Podcast. It was lovely having you.
Likewise, thank you for interviewing me.
Yeah.
Our food should be ready. Let's go grab some food.
Yes, let's do that.